Here today with Coach Grossner. Coach, we're ready to preview the FCS Quarterfinals, take on the defending national champions, Southern Oregon. You guys played Southern Oregon up in Ashland, Oregon in 2005, your second season. Tell us about that game. What do you remember from that football game?
Yeah, that was right when I got here, my second year, and we had an opportunity. I don't know how it came about. We had an extra, non-conference opportunity mid-year. It was like late October, November. And they got a hold of us. We worked it out. It was a pretty good deal. Gave us a guarantee to get out there. And what a great trip for our guys. Got to fly into Portland, bus down. Great area, fantastic, beautiful, kind of sitting below the mountains. Had a tough game. They were a good team, just getting going back then. And we were tied going into the fourth quarter. And then made a couple mistakes, and they beat us 44-29 that evening. But we remember it, and from a standpoint, back then they had great athletes running around and a good, solid football program, and you've seen what they've done lately.
Yeah, they're the defending national champions. They defeated Marion last year for the national title. So this team brings in some experience. What are your expectations? What are you going to see here on Saturday from Southern Oregon?
Yeah, anytime you've won a national title, your confidence level is very high going into the next season, and they've defended it well. They've gotten themselves into the final eight. They've got to go on the road here against us, but our kids are confident too. We've played in some big games since '08. We've played in a lot of big games at home and away, and we feel like it's going to be a great matchup. Anytime you're down to 8, they're all good, and it's going to come down to mistakes, lessen the mistakes, play good football, tackle well. When you get a chance to score, get 7. Try not to get 3. But I see a good matchup. Just watching tape on them up front, physically, offensively, they're big and strong and athletic. Got a couple good tailbacks run the ball. I think their quarterback makes them go. Interesting fact, and you can see it in their style of offense. Their head coach was Tim Tebow's high school head coach in Nice back in Florida. And you can see they utilize their quarterback at Southern Oregon in some very similar situations. He's going to pull it down and design runs. He's a tough kid. You can tell he has no fear. Throws the ball well, gets the ball out of his hand quickly. So I think he's their catalyst and makes them go offensively. And then defensively, they're big up front, do a nice job up front. And then second and third level, I'm real impressed with their DBs. They have good cover skills. They play man defense quite a bit, and they allow their linebackers and their safety to just come down and stop the run. So it's going to be a unique matchup with our receiver crew, the way we've been throwing the ball through the season. And then, of course, our defense against their spread it out, wide open offense. Our defense is darn good too. And so I think just the matchups are real unique and intriguing. I think it's going to be a good football game for the fans to watch.
They will feature a dual threat quarterback. He leads the team in rushing. He's also thrown for over 2,000 yards. But your team has done a really nice job against those types of running quarterbacks and albeit teams that had that wishbone offense, run heavy. But talk about your defense and what are some keys to slowing down their quarterback and their offense.
Yeah, we started the year with Grandview, a national champ in 2013 with an All-American quarterback in Derek Fulton, and we had to control him, and I thought we did a good job of that. What makes Southern Oregon so dangerous is they've got a good receiving crew out there that block well on the perimeter. They like to get the ball out on the perimeter with the quarterback running and throwing. And then like I said, their front 5 offensive line are big and athletic, and so they run a nice zone concept inside. And so with those two things where they spread you out and try to get it outside with the throw or the run, and then they can run inside zone against you with some big guys opening some holes. I think it's a great challenge for our front 4. We've challenged our front 4 many times this year, and each time they've stepped up and done a great job, and they're going to have to this Saturday for us to win.
Your offense put up 68 points in that first round game. great performance all around. Logan Bertell played well, the player of the game. Clarence Clark had 4 touchdowns. He almost broke the single game record for receiving yards in Baker history. What do you hope to take from that game against Point into Southern Oregon?
Well, you hope you play well in the playoffs. And, our last regular season game, we had to scramble to win. And so coming into this game, we were just trying to get ourselves better and well during the practice week. And then, of course, you're preparing for an opponent you've never seen. I felt Saturday we were hitting on all 3 cylinders. Our defensively, we were lights out. Offensively, we made one mistake. Other than that, we were capitalizing on opportunities and scoring touchdowns. And then special teams, we blocked a punt for a touchdown, picked up a fumble for a touchdown, did some really good things on special teams. So, we just need to carry that into the Final 8 game. And, Southern Oregon is a well-coached football team. That's what you see on tape. I think there's going to be some strategies going on Saturday, back and forth, testing each other out early. What are we going to do on defense? How are they going to attack it, and vice versa? And that's what happens in a big game. And then it's about being smart with the football, turnover margin. We're leading the nation in turnover margin. If we can keep that going, we've got a great chance to win.
Well, Coach, thank you for your time. Good luck Saturday in the quarterfinals.
Thank you.